kitten. It's almost more than I can handle. It's making me so wet!
Have you ever dreamed of a cozy home filled with adorable catgirls, each one adding their own charm, playful mischief, and maybe even a touch of magic to your everyday life? A place where every moment is an adventure. Well, sit back, grab your favorite snacks, and let's dive first into today's video. Le Solo is a patisserie shop owned by Cashew Minuki, who comes from a family with a long line of chefs. He decides to move away from home and open his own pastry shop despite his parents' wishes. However, the vision he had for the shop changes when he moves into the bakery and discovers that two of the family's catgirls, Chocola and Vanilla, have followed him by stowing away in boxes. Somehow, they manage to persuade Cashew to let them stay, so he makes them employees of Le Solo. Now, the bakery is run by a beautiful staff made up solely of catgirls, welcoming clients with their cute charms. Most of the catgirls are owned by Shigeru Minuki, Cashew's younger sister, who has a remarkable talent for business. She currently takes care of 4 catgirls named Cinnamon, Maple, Azuki, and Coconut. One day, Cinnamon and Maple head to the bakery. On the train, it becomes clear that catgirls really stand out among humans. A little girl points out the cute little bells they're wearing, and it's explained that cats aren't allowed to leave their houses unless their masters accompany them. They can, however, go out alone if they're wearing a bell, which they must pass a difficult test to earn. Once the 2 catgirls arrive at the bakery, Cashew asks them to relieve Chocola and Vanilla, as he's afraid Chocola is about to pounce on a customer's cake. After taking over their shift, Cinnamon and Maple apologize for being late. Vanilla reassures them that the delay was only 10 minutes, but Chocola is more upset, saying she was about to fall unconscious from hunger. Cashew clarifies that it's okay to be a little late, as he appreciates their help in the bakery. Chocola has no choice but to forgive them, taking a hint from Cashew's kindness, though she's clearly not pleased. This changes when Maple mentions she left some seared tuna in the upstairs fridge for them. Both Chocola and Vanilla are thrilled. Cinnamon explains that Shigeru gave them the tuna since she had gotten hold of some fresh stock and wanted them to enjoy it. Moments later, Cinnamon suddenly remembers that Shigeru asked them to take some ponzu as well, but they forgot. Cashew says they don't have any ponzu at home, but soy sauce should suffice. Cinnamon looks displeased with this answer, so Chocola volunteers to go buy some ponzu. Without waiting for a response, she dashes to the store, asking them not to start without her. She even takes a shortcut to get there faster but stops when she notices a little catgirl sitting alone in the park. Since the little catgirl has no bell, Chocola approaches her to ask where her master is but gets no response. Chocola keeps trying to gather information, but the only answer she gets is the sound of the little girl's stomach rumbling. She decides to give the girls some chocolates she had, leaving them on a bench when the girl runs to hide in a bush. Afterward, Chocola remembers the ponzu and resumes her trip to the store. By the time she returns, she notices the package of chocolates is gone, meaning the little catgirl ate them. Chocola wonders if the girl is waiting for her master because there's no other reason a bell-less cat would be alone. With that thought, she hurries back home, only to discover that the little catgirl followed her. Chocola becomes concerned and tries to explain that leaving without telling anyone would worry her master. Despite her warnings, the little catgirl doesn't seem to understand. Chocola begins to suspect the girl may be astray. When the little girl confirms she has no master, Chocola relates to her, recalling when she and Vanilla were just kittens. Feeling protective, she decides to hide the little catgirl in the house. The girl hides so well that not even Chocola can find her. During dinner, Chocola can't enjoy the tuna she was so excited about and leaves the table without taking a bite to look for the girl. She even panics, fearing the toilet might have swallowed her, but eventually finds her in her room and hugs her in relief. After that, she quickly eats her dinner and sneaks food into her room for the little catgirl. Chocola offers her some dried fish, which she loves, but Vanilla walks in and discovers the little girl. This alarms Chocola, but Vanilla is charmed by how cute the girl is. However, after hearing the situation, Vanilla advises Chocola never to act behind their master's back. Chocola agrees but explains she didn't want to tell Cashew because of what he said when the store opened. When Coconut expressed her desire to live there, Cashew mentioned that taking care of the store and having Chocola and Vanilla around was already challenging, and he couldn't handle more cats. Vanilla reassures Chocola and insists Cashew won't say no. However, when they ask him, he immediately refuses. Chocola panics and asks why. Cashew explains they can't decide to take her in until they're sure she's truly abandoned. She might have just wandered off and could have an owner looking for her. To resolve the matter, Cashew decides to consult an expert. Soon, his sister Shigeru shows up, explaining that her duty is to respond 24/7 for any. Since they can't get any answers from the little girl, Shigeru decides to ask around the cat owner's network to see if a kitten has gone missing recently. For the time being, Shigeru offers to take care of the little girl herself. Soon after, she takes the girl to her home, leaving Chocola worried. Vanilla tries to comfort her, assuring her that Shigeru is an expert in cat matters and won't let anything bad happen. At Shigeru's house, the little cat girl hides from the others because they are curious about her. Even Shigeru is intrigued and excited, but she notices the girl's clothes are dirty and damaged. She gives her a bath and clean clothes. Later, Shigeru offers her space in her bed, but the little cat girl chooses to sleep in the corner instead. The next morning, the girls find her sleeping on the toilet seat. Meanwhile, Chocola spends the day distracted and worried. Her clumsiness doesn't go unnoticed by Vanilla, who asks if she's still thinking about the little girl. Chocola admits she's sad because they never even found out her name. Back at Shigeru's, Azuki decides to name the little cat girl Sugar Cane. Maple disapproves, saying a name should be chosen with care, and Shigeru scolds Azuki for giving her a name without permission. After all, if the kitten is lost, she must already have a real name. During mealtime, the little cat girl vanishes and is found under the table eating. Later that day, Azuki and Coconut visit the bakery to work their shift, and Chocola immediately asks about the little cat girl. They assure her the girl is fine, though she has a habit of disappearing and reappearing in surprising places. Chocola seems curious to know more but only smiles, saying the little girl loves dried fish and will appreciate it as a snack. Vanilla notices Chocola's continued worry but remains silent. Meanwhile, Shigeru continues researching but finds no reports of lost cats matching the little girl's description. Maple and Cinnamon try to care for the girl by offering pastries and teaching her about tea, but as soon as the lesson ends, the girl disappears. They find her in the kitchen holding a bag of dried fish, and Maple teases her for preferring it over the afternoon tea setup. The little girl enjoys the dried fish, recalling when Chocola offered it to her, but the memory makes her sad. Maple and Cinnamon try to cheer her up with books and games, but nothing works. Shigeru notices their efforts and explains the girl might need more time to adjust. She brings out a box of old toys the Minuki family cats used to play with. The little girl chooses one toy in particular, and Shigeru mentions it was Chocola's favorite as a kitten. The girl hugs the toy tightly, as if missing Chocola. Shigeru gives her space, but later that afternoon, the little girl disappears. Shigeru calls Chocola to explain the situation, and Chocola tries to leave immediately to search for the girl. Vanilla stops her, reminding her the bakery is still open. Chocola explains everything, and Vanilla encourages her to go, promising to manage the bakery while she's gone. Cashew agrees to join the search after closing the bakery. Chocola searches the city, worried the little girl might be scared or in danger. Exhausted, she finds herself at the park where they first met and sits on a bench, full of worry. To her surprise, the little cat girl appears beside her. Overcome with relief, Chocola hugs her while crying. The girl smiles and says she wants to stay with her. Back home, Chocola musters the courage to ask Cashew if they can keep the little girl. She promises to take full responsibility, offering to cut her food in half, bathe her, dress her, and train her. Surprised by Chocola's determination, Vanilla supports her request. Cashew smiles, saying he never said they couldn't keep her. The little girl officially becomes part of the Lusolo family. Although they care for her lovingly, the little cat girl retains her peculiar habit of eating under the table. When the bakery opens, Chocola and Vanilla leave her in a room to watch TV while they work. However, the little one quickly grows bored and begins wandering around the bakery. Chocola finds her approaching some customers and immediately intervenes, telling her. Chocola tells the little cat girl that she must stay in the room and play while the bakery is open. However, the kitten gets distracted with a box, crawls inside it, and begins wandering around the kitchen. Startled by the sudden crash of a bowl that Cashew accidentally drops, she freezes in place. Cashew, equally surprised, quickly apologizes and offers her a slice of cacao cake as a peace offering. To his surprise, the little cat girl loves the cake and eats it so quickly that it charms everyone who watches her. During their lunch break, Chocola and Cinnamon eat alongside the kitten. As they finish and prepare to return to work, the little cat girl gives them a pleading look, silently begging them to stay. Unable to resist, they decide to extend their break and play with her for a little while. Chocola gets carried away during the games, letting her cat instincts take over. By the time their break ends, the little cat girl is already worn out and falls asleep soon after. A few days later, Chocola, Vanilla, and the kitten head to Shigeru's house for their monthly health check. As always, Shigeru measures their heights, teasing Chocola that hers hasn't changed since she's now a fully grown cat. When it's the little cat girl's turn, Shigeru realizes they still haven't given her a proper name. Azuki once again insists on calling her Sugar Cane, but the other girls chime in with their own suggestions, most of which are based on their favorite foods. Shigeru steps in to clarify that the name should be something the kitten herself likes. Chocola suggests naming her after dried fish, but Shigeru rejects the idea, saying it isn't cute enough. After a lot of brainstorming, Vanilla comes up with the perfect name: Kaka, inspired by the kitten's love for Cashew's cacao cake. Everyone agrees it suits her, and the little girl finally has a name. After finishing the health check, Shigeru tests their kinetic vision with a game where they must identify objects flashing quickly on a screen. To everyone's amazement, Kaka performs the best, impressing the group with her skills. Later, the girls decide to take Kaka to the beach so she can see the ocean for the first time. The little catgirl is awestruck by the sight of the sea, and they all spend the day playing in the sand. Shigeru suggests they return during swimming season so Kaka can fully enjoy the water. Chocola promises to teach Kaka how to swim with Vanilla when the time comes. As time passes, having Kaka around reminds Chocola and Vanilla of their own kittenhood. They reminisce about when Kashi used to pat them on the head, which makes them nostalgic. Hoping for some affection, they behave exceptionally well and wait patiently for him at home. However, when Kashi returns, he seems distracted and worried. He doesn't respond to their attempts to gain his attention, remains silent during dinner, and leaves his food unfinished. Concerned, Vanilla mentions that she saw him earlier in the day, stressed in the kitchen. She speculates that the bakery might be struggling financially due to a decline in customers. Chocola panics, imagining their meals being reduced to 1 dried fish a day. Seeing her friend on the verge of a breakdown, Vanilla calms her and suggests they help Cashew by bringing more customers to the bakery. The three of them take to the streets, handing out shop cards with the bakery's name and location. When Kaka expresses curiosity, Chocola explains that the cards are meant to attract customers to the shop. Inspired, Kaka tucks a card under her hat and joins the effort. Soon, Cinnamon and Maple arrive and, after hearing about the situation, suggest using social media to attract more customers. They launch a promotion offering free photo shoots with the girls for anyone who purchases a cake. The next day, the strategy proves successful as a wave of customers floods the bakery. Cashew notices the increased activity but remains unaware of the girls' efforts. Wanting to contribute, Kaka grabs a bundle of shop cards and begins handing them out. Lacking the ability to explain their purpose, she mimics a mailman and leaves the cards in random mailboxes. However, her exploration leads her far from home, and she becomes lost. While wandering, she encounters a little girl named Chio, who is instantly charmed by Kaka's adorable appearance. Although scared at first, Kaka is drawn to the scent of food, and Chio shares her taiyaki with her. The two bond, and Chio tries asking Kaka questions, including her name, but gets no response. Realizing the kitten is lost, Chio decides to help and takes her to the police station. Unfortunately, the station is empty, and when Chio asks a nearby adult for help, Kaka vanishes. Chio finds her again in front of a bakery, and realizes Kaka must live in a pastry shop. Together, they visit several bakeries in search of her home but have no luck. Defeated, they return to the park, where Chio shares her own story. Back in her old home, she had a cat she loved dearly, and would often eat taiyaki with her grandmother. However, her family had to move due to her father's job, and she struggled to adjust to her new life. Moved by Chio's story, Kaka finally speaks, telling her name and thanking her for helping. Overjoyed, Chio hugs her tightly. In the process, the shop card hidden under Kaka's hat falls out. With this clue, back at the bakery, Chio uses the shop card she found to guide Kaka home. Once the shop closes, Cashew discovers the social media post the girls made to promote the bakery. The girls confess and explain the situation. However, Cashew clarifies that he wasn't stressed about sales. Instead, he had been struggling to create a new summer-themed cake. Feeling embarrassed for misreading the situation, Chocola and Vanilla apologize, but Cashew reassures them, expressing his gratitude for their hard work. Their efforts had not only helped the shop but also reignited his inspiration, leading him to create a new cake. Overjoyed, Chocola and Vanilla finally receive the head pats they had longed for. Later, a brief panic ensues when they can't find Kaka, but she's soon discovered waiting patiently for them at home. As time passes, life at the bakery returns to normal. However, tensions between Azuki and Coconut escalate, with their constant bickering worsening. One day, their arguments grow so disruptive that Shigeru intervenes. Instead of scolding them, she proposes they resolve their differences through competition. She declares the start of the Minaduki House Cup, a friendly contest between Team Azuki, Cinnamon, Vanilla, and Team Coconut, Maple, Chocola. The day is filled with a series of games and challenges, but despite their efforts, Azuki and Coconut continue to clash. Shigeru decides to stage a final tiebreaker, a cat tower race. Both teams gather to watch as Azuki and Coconut prepare for the showdown. Coconut is initially favored to win due to her size, but Azuki's agility levels the playing field. The race begins, with both contestants clearing obstacles effortlessly. As they near the final stretch, a tall pillar leading to the finish, Azuki takes the lead. Desperate to catch up, Coconut attempts an ambitious shortcut, using side towers to overtake Azuki. Her plan works briefly, but she slips and faces a dangerous fall. Acting swiftly, Azuki catches her, pulling her to safety. The two finish the race together, with Coconut thanking Azuki for saving her. Azuki brushes it off, scolding her for being careless. In that moment, Coconut recalls how Azuki has always looked out for her, even as a child. She realizes their fights often stem from misunderstandings and Azuki's concern for her. When they return to the others, everyone is shocked to see the two getting along. Coconut accidentally calls Azuki sister, causing even more astonishment. Embarrassed, she quickly takes it back, but the bond between them is clearly stronger now. Though they continue their usual bickering, it becomes more playful and filled with mutual understanding. One day, a storm hits the area, forcing everyone to prepare for rough weather. Cashew is away visiting a distant strawberry farm, but his train is stopped due to strong winds. Meanwhile, Shigeru is stuck in traffic en route to an offline meeting for her cat lover group. The girls find themselves alone at home as the storm intensifies. To pass the time, they play card games and receive a call from Shigeru, who informs them she won't make it back that night. As the storm causes a blackout, Vanilla suggests telling ghost stories to lighten the mood, but her eerie tale leaves the group genuinely frightened. Once the power returns, Chocola attempts to tell a happier story, but it falls flat, leading Vanilla to propose a fairy tale sequel. However, the others quickly dismiss her repetitive storytelling style. Maple steps in, claiming to demonstrate proper storytelling, but her tales humorously cast Cinnamon as a shameless pervert. While the portrayal isn't far from reality, Cinnamon protests vehemently. The group spends the evening sharing stories, until another blackout plunges them into darkness again. Suddenly, they hear footsteps outside their room. Maple tries to calm the group, suggesting it's Vanilla playing a prank. But when Vanilla reveals she's right beside them, fear grips the group. Moments later, a woman in a soaked kimono enters the room, causing the girls to scream in terror. It turns out to be Shigeru, who walked home through the storm, unwilling to be alone. Despite her explanation, the girls faint from fright. Following that event, Shigeru begins acting strangely. Though usually adept at managing housework and cooking, she starts making mistakes, spacing out, and failing to respond when spoken to. The girls speculate that she might be suffering from summer heat fatigue, compounded by her efforts to advertise Cashew's shop. Determined to help, they take over household chores to ease her burden. Unfortunately, their attempts are clumsy and unsuccessful. Undeterred, they decide to prepare a special dinner, putting all their energy into making something to cheer Shigeru up. However, impressed by the girls' efforts in preparing dinner for her, Shigeru thanks them but declines to eat, claiming she's not hungry. She retreats to her room, leaving the girls concerned. As they ponder the cause of her lethargy, Maple jokingly suggests that Shigeru might be suffering from Cashew withdrawal, noting how much Shigeru adores her brother. Maple theorizes that since Cashew has been busy with the bakery and hasn't visited often, Shigeru might feel neglected. The group decides to create an opportunity for her to spend time with Cashew. The next day, Shigeru is invited to the bakery and given a uniform to join the staff. Though confused, Chocola assures her that helping at the bakery will take her mind off whatever is bothering her. Vanilla even insists she wear cat ears for the role, which makes Cashew compliment her cuteness. The gesture lifts Shigeru's spirits slightly, and she earnestly tries her best to serve customers. However, being shy and inexperienced, she struggles, making mistakes and feeling even more dejected. Seeing Shigeru's worsening mood, the girls ask Cashew for help. After the shop closes, he brings Shigeru her favorite pastry and sits down to talk. Shigeru admits she's unsure why she feels gloomy. She emphasizes that she fully supports Cashew's dreams and his independence, wishing only for his success. Cashew reassures her, and Shigeru leaves with a smile, but Azuki remains skeptical, noting that Shigeru still seems distracted. The girls, now deeply concerned, decide to secretly follow Shigeru. To their alarm, they notice she isn't heading home. When Shigeru reaches the edge of a cliff, Cinnamon panics, recalling a drama where someone jumped off a cliff due to unrequited love. She wildly theorizes that Shigeru's despair over her immortal love for Cashew might be pushing her to drastic action. Though the others dismiss this as absurd, Shigeru's proximity to the edge sends them into a frenzy. They rush toward her, tearfully begging her not to do anything rash and reminiscing about their cherished moments together. Shigeru, surprised by their dramatic intervention, bursts into uncontrollable laughter. In her amusement, she trips on a rock and falls off the cliff, pulling the girls with her. Fortunately, they all land safely in water. After returning home, Shigeru explains her behavior. She reveals that the summer heat made her feel isolated because the girls stopped snuggling with her at night. She was suffering from acute cat deprivation, which had left her heart feeling empty. The cliff was simply her thinking spot, not a place for despair. Grateful for their concern, Shigeru feels more connected to the group, and they promise to sleep with her again to cheer her up. A few days later, the group visits an amusement park for a much-needed break from work. Among the many attractions, they explore a haunted house where Maple's legendary fearfulness becomes a source of humor. Chocola steps into an older sister role, taking special care of Cacao. When Cacao goes missing momentarily, they find her mesmerized by an outdoor stage featuring a performance of Cat Witches, a beloved childhood show. Cinnamon and Maple recall watching the show as kittens, and Cinnamon excitedly joins the performance as a hostage character. The host calls for someone in the audience to sing a magical song to rescue her, but the crowd hesitates. When no one steps up, Cinnamon cleverly blackmails Maple, promising to keep a secret about an embarrassing haunted house incident if she helps. Panicked, Maple reluctantly agrees, stepping onto the stage. Her stunning voice captivates the audience, earning widespread praise. Flustered but touched by the support, Maple thanks everyone. However, after the amusement park visit, Maple grows uncharacteristically quiet. She begins taking private phone calls, sneaking out, and losing sleep. Her behavior worries the group, particularly Cinnamon, whose overactive imagination leaps to outlandish conclusions. Believing Maple might be involved in something inappropriate, Cinnamon tries to follow her but loses track of her in an alley. Later, Maple catches Cinnamon spying on her and decides to come clean. She reveals she's taken a part-time job at a music store. When Cashew and Shigeru question why, since she already has everything she needs, Maple confesses her dream: she wants to become a singer. Inspired by her recent stage performance and the positive response, she's determined to pursue her passion seriously. Maple did some research and saw that learning an instrument is a good way to get started on learning how to sing well. That's why she wanted to make some money to buy a guitar, thinking it would be good to learn an instrument she could play while singing, allowing her to do a whole performance by herself. It doesn't take much time for Cashew and Shigeru to understand, and they both say they could buy her a guitar. However, Maple protests, clarifying that something like that would defeat the purpose. Buying the guitar would be her first step toward making her dream come true, so she has to do it herself. Cashew tells her that he understands, noting that after all, he had to leave home to start his own shop. At that moment, he remembers something he saw a few days ago and tells her about a singing contest in Kagawa. The prize is a white guitar, and since she wants to be a singer, it would be a good test for her as well. Maple gets excited and spends the following days working hard, training for her performance, and perfecting her singing skills the best she can. Cinnamon supports her all the way and one day asks if she'll perform in cosplay since she's going to sing the Cat Witches theme song. Maple tells her that it would be impossible since that outfit is from when they were kittens, so there's no way she could wear it. Cinnamon then says she can adjust it, so over the following days Azuki and Coconut help with the costume while Maple keeps training. When the big day arrives, Maple is extremely nervous and surprised to see Cashew, Shigeru, and all the girls cheering her on from the audience with a big sign. However, when Maple's turn gets closer, she disappears, and Cinnamon starts looking for her all over the place. She finds her hiding in a corner and tells her they have to go now, or else they'll miss their turn. To her surprise, Maple quits, saying that she won't do it. She mentions that the other contestants are super popular and almost professionals, and all the judges are editors for music magazines, famous producers, and the like. She feels she would only make a fool of herself by joining. That's why she plans to go home. She doesn't want to embarrass herself in front of everyone. Before she can leave, Cinnamon stops her, suddenly slapping her face. Through tears, Cinnamon tells her that she has always been cool to her, but running away just to avoid looking bad is not cool at all. Maple is shocked but explains that she's scared of looking miserable in front of everyone. She adds that everyone helped her prepare so much for that day and even took time off work to support her, and she doesn't want to let them down. Cinnamon smiles and assures her it will be okay, asking her to remember the time she first arrived at the Minaduki house. Back then, she couldn't fit in and was crouched in a corner of the room. Maple scolded her, saying that crouching in a corner wouldn't change anything. Maple looks at her in awe, remembering that moment, as it was when they promised to always help each other through anything. Cinnamon repeats the words Maple said that day, and Maple finally takes her hand. She gets to the stage just in time and, to her surprise, even manages to win the prize. Back home, everyone praises her, and Maple is thrilled with her new guitar, saying she'll soon start practicing with all her heart. Sometime later, back at the bakery, Cashew informs Chocola that he received a notification about renewing their bells. He explains that she and Vanilla will have to take a test soon. If they fail, their bells will be revoked, and they won't be allowed to go out on their own anymore. The test will evaluate their knowledge of human rules and norms, their ability to resist feline instincts, and whether they can behave rationally. Chocola is terrified at first but soon calms down. She and Vanilla explain what a bell is to Kaka, who surprises them by saying she also wants one. Vanilla clarifies that Kaka isn't old enough to take the test yet. As the days go by, Vanilla notices how clumsy Chocola is getting lately. Even Kaka shows more self-control. So, she suggests they start training for the test. With no other choice, Chocola agrees, and they both go to Shigeru's house the next day to be trained by the other girls. However, before they realize it, they just end up doing all the house chores instead. Vanilla and Chocola are upset, so the girls apologize, making excuses as to why it happened. Soon after, they get serious and bring out a textbook meant to prepare them for the bell test. Chocola and Vanilla finally begin their training, going through different tests. Azuki teaches them about human rules, Coconut helps them resist their cat instincts, and Cinnamon trains them intellectually and in etiquette, though she gets carried away with her usual dirty-mindedness. Maple teaches them about shopping and running errands, though even Kaka performs better than Chocola in that area. After all the training, the day of the bell test arrives, and Chocola and Vanilla somehow manage to pass successfully. Shigeru takes them to a temple and then to a fancy sushi place to celebrate, making the girls very happy. At the end of the day, they visit countless cafes to learn more about them, hoping to improve the customer experience at their own bakery. Several days later, Chocola and Vanilla are surprised to learn that Kaka will have her first sleepover at Shigeru's house. They help her pack all the necessary things, and several unnecessary ones, getting a little carried away in their efforts to make everything perfect. Kaka gets overwhelmed, ending up with a backpack so full it looks like it's about to explode, and she can't even walk with it. Cashew arrives to save the day, clarifying that it's only for one night, so Kaka doesn't need so many things. The girls insist on making her carry everything anyway. They packed, but their words were interrupted when the backpack suddenly exploded, so they had no choice but to give in. On the day Kaka goes to Shigeru's house, she leaves with a normal backpack, and Shigeru gives Kaka's mother her contact information, just in case anything happens. Chocola and Vanilla struggle to let her go and spend the rest of the day at work, distracted and acting clumsy, still worried about Kaka. On the other hand, Kaka and Shigeru spend the day playing at the park. Meanwhile, Chocola and Vanilla cry over not having Kaka around for dinner. They even feel like things such as the bathtub or the bed now feel bigger and emptier without her, and they realize that Kaka has become a normal part of their life. The next day, Kaka finally returns from Shigeru's house, and Chocola and Vanilla welcome her with open arms. However, they freeze when Kaka passes right by them and goes to her room to hide in a box, not wanting to talk to them. The other cat girls tell them that Kaka must be going through a rebellious phase and that they should leave her alone. Later that day, Chocola and Vanilla try talking to Kaka anyway, attempting to get her out of the box. But the only answer they get is being shot by a water gun. Chocola gets frustrated and states that they will get everyone involved and make Kaka come out no matter what. Coconut helps them shortly after by cooking Kaka's favorite food right in the room to try to lure her out of the box. However, the room soon fills with smoke, and they start choking from the lack of oxygen. The other girls quickly arrive at the scene, open all the windows, and Azuki once again tells them to leave Kaka alone since it's just a phase. Chocola and Vanilla are still concerned though, so Maple tries doing a performance to make Kaka come out. The girls enjoy her singing, but at the end, Kaka just comes out for a second to shush them. By the end of the day, even Cashew gets a little worried, since Kaka never skips a meal, but she doesn't show up for dinner. Chocola and Vanilla then get an idea and once again try to persuade Kaka with food, but this time with her very favorite dish. The plan miserably fails, and desperate, they try to use force. But just before they do anything, Kaka gets out of the box herself. She then surprises Chocola and Vanilla by reading a letter she wrote for them, and showing a drawing she spent the whole day making inside the box. The letter expresses how grateful she is for all the time they've spent together, and the effort Kaka put into it makes Chocola and Vanilla really emotional. Kaka smiles and tells them she loves them and wants to be together forever. The girls can't help but tear up, hugging the kitten and telling her how much they love her as well. Time passes, and the girls once again go to Shigeru's house for their monthly health check. After they finish, they all enjoy some fruit while talking about the increasing heat of summer. Coconut mentions that in such hot times, she can't help but want to go to the beach. They remember the last time they went and decide it's a good time to go back, as it's now swimming season. Before that though, Shigeru takes them to the mall to shop for swimwear, as it's Kaka's first proper swimming trip. All of the girls get a new set of swimwear, and they make Kaka try several other ones. Once they finish buying everything, they decide to go eat something, but Kaka gets distracted by a giant fish in a store. The girls notice she's looking at a giant fish-shaped float and clarify that she can't actually eat it, as it's just for floating on the ocean. But Kaka looks even more excited than before, so Shigeru decides to buy it for her. The next day, everyone finally gets to the beach with their new swimwear, and gets to enjoy everything properly. Unlike last time, Shigeru enjoys taking several pictures of all the girls as they play. But soon after, Vanilla approaches her, saying that she can't find Kaka. Everyone immediately starts searching for her, and after a while, Chocola is startled to see Kaka floating in the middle of the sea. They all panic, but before they can do anything, a girl nearby immediately jumps into the sea to save Kaka, safely bringing her back to shore. The girls are deeply grateful to the girl, and Shigeru insists on repaying her somehow. The girl then decides to ask them to visit their shop, so they all visit a seaside clubhouse and are impressed by how good the food is. Shigeru notices that the place is quite empty despite the quality, and that the location is not the best. The lack of patronage must be due to a lack of advertisement and attention, so she decides that as a token of gratitude, they'll make the place the most popular on the beach. Soon, all the cat girls start promoting the place on the beach, spreading the word and attracting customers with some performances. They also promote the place on social media, collaborating with Le Solo. Soon enough, the clubhouse is packed. The girls take care of attending to all the customers, and Cashew helps in the kitchen, making the best quality food possible. At the end of the day, they all end up exhausted, and the girl and her sister deeply thank them for all their help. They explain that they inherited the shop from their parents, and that it has never been this popular before. Azuki clarifies that it's all thanks to Shigeru's plans working out, proving once again that she really has talent for business. Shigeru also thanks everyone for their hard work, as even Kaka worked very hard attending to all the customers. The girl admits it was a lot of fun, but she gets a little sad knowing that they were popular just because of the kittens, and it won't always be like that. Shigeru tells them that there's something she'd like to discuss with them. Sometime after, the girls are surprised to see the clubhouse on TV. The place now has more staff, with more cat girls attending, and Shigeru explains that the girl and her sister seemed like nice people, so she introduced them to some cats who were looking for a home that cats bring good luck, so now the beach clubhouse is definitely destined for success. And also, there is nothing better than a life with cats. So, that's all for today's video. Remember, with cats around, luck is on your side, so hit that subscribe button and claim your good fortune. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.